just so we can shine this summer. Yeah, what's the price? I don't know the price. We just tryna live life in paradise. Lifestyle, 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 lifestyle. Oh, lifestyle, 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 lifestyle. What's the price? We don't know the price. We just tryna live life in paradise.
How's everyone doing out there tonight? I want to welcome you to this evening's episode of the Black Money Market News. I want to apologize for not being able to bring you a show last Wednesday or Friday. Had some parental duties I had to attend to, so family first as always is what I say. As always, giving a chance to get some people on the live stream. I'm sharing out the links. Go ahead and get yourself entered for this week's episode by sharing tonight's show. Get your friends, get your family members on this, because this is how we can change the financial situation we see ourselves in our community.
Just so we can shine this summer. Yeah, what's the price? I don't know the price. We just tryna
And
live
honestly, if you have been paying attention to what's been going on politically, getting your financial house in order is definitely a must at this time. Just be a few more seconds as we get some more people in on the stream. All right, folks, and we are live once again. I want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. We're gonna start off tonight's show with the normal updates on the marketplace. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can get this crawler to update, because it looks like it is still looping the old info, but the index information is right. So I'm gonna just start off with the indexes. Pretty much was in the red across the board. I'll get into details what kind of drove the markets down here in a minute, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 177 points for the worst performance in about 5 months for a single day drop. S&P 500 was also down uh, nearly 20 points. Um, NASDAQ was down roughly half a percent. Russell 2000 was also down roughly uh, 10 points in the day at 1598. Bitcoin was also down $324 in the, well, not in the day, but at the time I was updating numbers, it was at 10,925 and some change. Gold was also down $4 and at 13.36 an ounce. And the euro traded a little bit softly against the dollar today, down a tenth of a cent, a little more than a tenth of a percent. But what kind of drove the markets lower today was a big jump in bond yields. As bonds go up, you will definitely see a decrease in uh, the stock market. It's kind of a give and take scenario. When interest rates are low and the bond yields are low, stock markets are going to rally because there's no real return on investment with low interest rates in the bond market. But as bond yields have increased, you would normally see a decrease in stock prices because bonds are considered a safer return or a safer bet, a safer play, more conservative play in investing. So those that are conservative investors will move their investment dollars from the stock market into the bond market. And so you kind of had that action going today. Good news though, which I think will kind of rebound this week, is we have a lot of major earnings reports coming out this week. We have a lot of the big names. In fact, you have the most reports coming out this week than what you see in a normal week for earnings. So this week you're going to have Google, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, ExxonMobil, Pfizer. You're going to have a lot of large companies, big influencers of the stock market reporting earnings today. So, well, this week rather. So that will definitely, I think, drive the prices back up. So just stay tuned to see how your individual stocks are doing. If you are invested right now, now would definitely be a time to be doing your due diligence, checking underneath the hood of the engine, as you would say, with these financial reports, with these quarterly earnings reports. If you are a subscriber to the Patreon page, I uploaded a new newsletter for the week that has 23 different option plays that you guys can participate in. If you saw the post earlier today on the page, I went ahead and stepped into 3 of those positions myself, and already most of those positions are up 20% just on today's trading. So definitely, I think, as usual, getting in now on today when the markets were treading lower would have been a great time to buy those options at a more affordable price, as you would say. Want to go ahead and start taking a peek here at some charts, but just give me one more moment here. I'm trying to fix this issue I'm having with the crawler here. All right, at least the numbers were right. The information down there at the bottom is right now. I guess some of the changes I was doing over the weekend did not take the way I expected it to do. But we're going to keep it moving. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. I want to go ahead and start off on the Bitcoin chart because I think we are getting ready to kind of bottom out from these short-term lows and doldrums we've been in since the peak in mid-December. Um, as we take a look at the chart here, this is a 4-hour chart for Bitcoin based off the Coinbase exchange. What I'm looking at is, if I can, let me see if I can draw this for you guys, is this trend right here. Starting back on the 16th, so roughly going on 2 weeks ago, we put in the low, and since then we've kind of rebounded, pulled back, but always have pulled back to this trend line. We pulled back recently in the last 2 or 3 days to that trend line again, and we keep hitting this 11,500 level before it pulls back down. So what I am expecting is to get this momentum play built back up. We are currently negative on the MACD, but even on the MACD, these levels have been steadily climbing up. We've kind of finally pulled fully back into positive territory on the MACD, but we are in this current bearish formation. But the next bullish crossover on the MACD, I think, is going to propel us to the 13,000 levels again. And I think if we can break through 13,000, we'll be looking on for an attack to 14,000. Um, I think there's been enough negative news that hasn't pulled back the Bitcoin pricing over the last week or so to new lows that it's just going to kind of propel itself with some built up momentum, kind of building along this trend line here with this. Do another line at this 11.5 level. As you can see, like we get in this classic triangle formation of higher lows with this kind of heavy resistance level right at this 11,500. So again, look for a good big crossover above 11,500. And if we can get that rally to bust through the short-term high of 13,000, we definitely could see a move back higher, back into a full bull market. So definitely be paying attention, I would say, over the next 24 to 48 hours as this uh, MACD indicator kind of works its way back into a bullish formation. Um, so that's my thoughts on Bitcoin right now. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum has quietly been rallying for the last, I would say, really since the 16th as well, getting a strong series of higher lows. And then in the last 3 or 4 days, has kind of really taken back off. Pulled back over the last 2 days or so, which is a good sign, but it hasn't broke through what I would say new support of 1100. So with this rally to 1250 and then this pull back to 1100, I think it's a good solid move. Let's see if we can get that price to maybe start consolidating sideways before we get another leg up. But it is nearing, it did near new all-time highs. Still got a little bit of ways to go to get back above 1400. But to be back above 1100, crossing over 1200 for the first time really since uh, the big downturn that we saw uh, about 2 weeks ago. So it's good indication of some movement in Ethereum. Let's take a look at Litecoin because it too has also been putting in a series of higher lows. Kind of rallied a little bit along the back end of Ethereum uh, earlier today, a couple hours, maybe late yesterday, earlier today, and it's since pulled back. So let's see if this pullback kind of keeps that trend or if it breaks down and heads lower. Take a quick look at Ripple. And again, kind of monkey see, monkey do that we always kind of see here in the crypto space. A series of higher lows. It's kind of trading sideways a lot over the last week. It did have that copycat rally that we saw in Ethereum. Didn't do it as well. Looks more like the Litecoin chart when it comes to that move and pullback. Excuse me, y'all. Looks like we are starting to get a bearish crossover on the MACD. So see if this pullback continues any further. On either of the crypto spaces, look for an uptick in volume to kind of confirm that the momentum has switched back around into the positive territory. Um, let's take a look at some of the major stock markets. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Again, today we saw this big pullback, which is kind of expected with the move we saw in the bond yields. Excuse me. I know I'm starting tonight's show off a little late, but uh, definitely this with the spike we saw in the bond yields, this pullback we saw in the S&P 500, and that we saw on the Dow Jones Industrial Averages to be expected. Again, with the big earnings reports coming out, I definitely think we're going to see a rally back in the Dow Jones, in particular with the big reports from Amazon, Google. I think Apple may have an earnings miss, and that's kind of what's been one of the other key ways today. That kind of helped pull the market down was analysts kind of predicting that Apple may not hit the numbers with the reports of them possibly canceling iPhone 10 production early and with possibly reporting under expected number of total iPhones sold. In fact, take a look at Apple's chart. You see it went from roughly 179 to 167 over the last 4 or 5 days. So it's kind of, I thought I saw a report earlier that has lost about $45 billion in market capitalization. So this could be a good move for a surprise on earnings since we've had this dramatic pullback and analysts may be over being over negative, which is always a possibility. On my newsletter, you'll see my pick if I went positive with a call or negative with a put. So if you want to get more of my insights on Apple, definitely check out the Patreon page. Let's take a look at some other big stocks that I'm reporting this week. Google, it was down, but only $1, less than 0.1% today. It still is rallying strong. I believe it reports on Wednesday. So let's see if it can break through the $1,200 levels on the back of its earnings report. I think this consolidation kind of sideways between the 1190 and 1175 range you've been seeing over the last 2 or 3 days is positive build up because we haven't seen a continuation in the rally that we saw in the previous week with this move from 1160 up through 1100. So I think Google is setting up nicely for earnings, but options are expensive on Google, as with any stock that's over $1,000. Let's also take a peek at Amazon, which again it was up today, up 15 bucks. I think it's getting ahead of itself on earnings. So I would not be surprised if we maybe are setting up for a pullback on earnings, even if they beat and raise their estimates um, off of the earnings, just because of how much the price has appreciated in the last, let's say, month and a half. Looking at January 1, we were at 11, pretty much right at that $1,200 level, and we've gone up another 200 points uh, in roughly a month. So it's been appreciating fairly rapidly. So if you held on to the stock or if you had some options early, it's definitely been a money maker. But do not be surprised if we see a pullback on its earnings report just due to the rapid appreciation we saw before the earnings. Same thing I would say with Boeing, especially with this big pop that we saw coming off on January the 5th. It has gone from 300 straight up to 350. It's kind of pulled back some to 340. Um, it could, really beat estimates, but I think with that appreciation move that we saw, it may have overran itself a little, but I would not be surprised if we get back above the 350 level on the back of its earnings. Alibaba also reports this week. Um, I definitely think we're going to see a move above 210 in Alibaba uh, on the backs of its earnings report coming out this week. So that's just kind of my thoughts of what's going on in the markets right now. Let's show you guys the what you call the 10-year note, and this is kind of what had pulled the markets down, just to show you guys how the yield has been performing on the interest rates. Um, the Fed does meet this week. It is Janet Yellen's last meeting as the Fed chair. So I don't think they're going to go with the raise in the actual rates this week. But as you can see, since the low of September, rates have steadily increased and they really started taking off. I would say since the middle of December, we've gone from 240 levels to currently trading at 270, and was a good 1% move today, which you normally don't see that large of a move in bonds in a single day. So, this move that we saw today is kind of what was weighing on the market. So maybe can expect a pullback that to maybe 265, 268 to kind of fill in this gap that it put in today. So that will also help push stocks higher. We also had a big pop today with that down move in the markets on the VIX. It rallied pretty much to it closed at a new high. Let's see here. Trying to go back to when the last time actually closed at these levels. We'll go to 1 day chart. So back since August. So looking at a good 6 months since the VIX actually closed at this level. It spiked 2 or 3 times above the level during the trading day, but this is the first time it's closed at these levels. So I would say volatility is looking to be making a comeback here in 2018, at least to start the year off. So that's always good news. Volatility normally is just a positive sign, in my opinion, of a healthy market. Too much volatility means that we are in a looking into some major headwinds, but I think we were kind of too negative on volatility in 2017. So having a healthy amount of volatility in 2018, I think will help continue to drive the markets higher. Um, I'm going to kind of wrap up tonight's show. Again, apologies for last week where I missed the Wednesday and Friday show. I will be back for a full week this week, so I will be here this Wednesday and Friday. Next week will be a shorter week as well. I'm going on vacation with the family. Not really vacation, but my daughter is in a performance art group, and they're going to Sacramento to perform in a junior festival out there. So I'm going out there and traveling with her to support. Speaking of support for my daughter, if you have a sweet tooth, shoot me an email address. We have Girl Scout cookies on deck. Her goal is 1,500 boxes this year. So if you want to, if you don't live here in the Oklahoma City area, all you gotta do is shoot me your email address. I can get you a link to go shopping on her store, and they'll ship the Girl Scout cookies straight to you now. So it makes it easier for everybody that supports family and friends across the country. So if you and your loved ones also doing your Girl Scout cookie sales, make sure you get your friends and family email addresses and take advantage of that online store. If you want to support Black Money Market News, you want to give us a tip, drop us a tip in the PayPal. The link is below and in the video description. If you want to go ahead and become a member of the Patreon, get access to the newsletter. Again, this week had 23 option plays with my recommendations based off of this week's earnings. I reviewed the newsletter from 2 weeks ago. Out of the 13 recommendations, 7 were winners. Actually, it was 12 recommendations, 7 winners, 4 were losers. Hey, you win some, you lose some when you're in the stock market. But with the option plays I give you, you're putting up very little money. Most of the option plays I give you, you're looking at less than $100 invested in a contract. I try to keep the option plays I recommend very affordable. Most of them are going to be under 100. Some of them are even $20 a contract, which gives you excellent opportunity to have a large return on investment. You know, buy 5 at $20, that's $100 in. And if it hits some of the target price, you're looking at a $500 return on your $100 investment. So definitely join the Patreon page if you want to get that 411. Link is also in the description at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to give a quick check for any other comments, any viewers out there that has anything. Thank you, Luan, for your comment. It may just be your systems, but I'm looking at the screen here. Everything looks to be going through fine. So if there was any technical difficulties, always be able to check out the replay on YouTube. It's recorded directly to my system, so if there was any upload issues with Facebook, it will be fixed on the YouTube link. Other than that, guys, appreciate you guys tuning into tonight's episode. Catch you guys Wednesday night. And this has been tonight's episode of Black Money Market News.
What's the price? We don't know the price. We just trying to live life in paradise.